Drummossie Moor, Culloden Moor, is a cold and desolate battle in Britain's last pitched war, marking the end of the Jacobite Rising. The Jacobites were portrayed as primitive, Gaelic-speaking Catholics who committed themselves for bonny Prince Charlie, their Italian-born princeling. The Jacobites were not the ragged rabble portrayed in media and history, but rather traditional units and strong muskets. They outnumbered British government soldiers in artillery and balls, and most Highlanders fought for the prince were Episcopalian Protestants. Many Jacobites were from the northeast of Scotland, Ireland and England, dissatisfied with German Geordie George II. The last British Catholic king was James VII of Scotland and Secu of England, who was dismissed by George Bergreen of Hanover. Protestants feared the king's Catholic successor and sought assistance from William of Orange, his Protestant son-in-law. William of Orange's authority over Scotland was plagued by administrative failure and economic disaster, leading to the Scottish Darien colonization of Panama. The 1707 union of the crowns overwhelmed many Scots, and Jacobite numbers climbed overnight. The French saw an opportunity to land James III, the Old Pretender, in his own territories and incite an uprising. Scottish resentment persisted despite high excise tax and charges, and their passage by the English-dominated Westminster Parliament raised tensions. Lowland Scotland survived Hanoverian authority, but it was hard. Major French invasion failed in 1744, and the prince failed to deliver soldiers, money, and guns as ordered. The Jacobites invaded England and took Carlisle on November 15, 1745, after a 5-day siege. They marched from Lancaster, Preston, and Manchester to Derby on December 4th, trying to overthrow George II. Luck was running out for the prince, and France and the English Jacobites refused to aid. The Jacobites risked encirclement, and many men never wanted to leave Scotland. Lord George Murray and other Highland clan lords advised the Jacobite army to retire to Scotland. The Battle of Culloden took place on Drummossie Moor, above Inverness, on April 16, 1746. The Duke of Northumberland led a well-supplied government army against Charles Edward Stuart, who chose Drummossie's marshy terrain over guerrilla warfare. The Jacobites, led by the Duke, faced numerous challenges, including heavy artillery and cavalry, which led to many falling. Cumberland's heavy artillery and cavalry excelled, and the Redcoats used bayonets to attack the Jacobite ahead of them. The battle resulted in 1,500 Jacobites dying, with 50 government soldiers and 400 Redcoats also dying. Glenn Urquhart, a young Jacobite volunteer soldier, fought at Culloden with his father and elder brother and later surrendered. Mackay, sent to the West Indies, fled to Jamaica to work on crops before retiring in Scotland. In the days following the war, Lord Cumberland ordered no combat injuries to be treated well, and Redcoats meticulously searched the battlefield, killing survivors. People from Inverness saw the fighting as entertainment, earning him the nickname Butcher of Northumberland. High-ranking detainees were executed for treason, while common soldiers were treated more leniently. Bonnie Prince Charles escaped for 5 months, with £30,000 paid for his capture. He was shielded by his loyal comrades, including Flower MacDonald, who risked her life by slipping him from South Uist to Skye as her maid Betty Burke. Charles left Flora in Skye for Rasay. Charles Edward Stuart, a French hero, returned to Scotland after enduring Highland midgie, famine, and redcoat pursuit. The French sent rescue troops to find and remove Charles from Scotland, and they triumphed on September 19th. Charles was banished to Italy, where he married Clementina Walkinshaw, a Scottish woman, and had a daughter, Charlotte. Charlotte was legitimized by Charles and requested to reside with him as Duchess of Albany. After his health deteriorated, she cared for him. Charles died in Rome in 1788, with his brother Henry officiating the burial. He left most of his money in his will, leaving the Scots who died for him and his cause nothing. A horrific Highlands vengeance followed the Jacobite defeat, with Culloden survivors chased throughout Scotland and thousands of young and senior men arrested and executed. The British government believed that the Highlanders required civilization for peace, leading to the brutal pacification of the Highlands and civilizing measures following Culloden. To reduce clans' military might, tartan, the kilt, firearms and bagpipes were prohibited in 1746. Chiefs' regal rule over clans was repealed by the Heritable Jurisdictions Act 1746. Many Highlanders lost land, and the British Army recruited them for additional cash. Many Highlanders fought in the American Revolution and 7 Years' War, earning their reputation for heroism. Culloden was the last British fight, but some believe the conflict continues. A conflict amongst Moor burial mounds is claimed, with the cries of the wounded and the clatter of metal weapons bringing back the ghosts of the fallen soldiers on the battle anniversary.